Welcome to the Political Matrix News. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the political matrix. Hey, the Political Matrix News is back with you. We're doing this on August the 27th. It's Tuesday. I didn't even look at the calendar until a couple of minutes ago. 10 weeks from right now, they'll be counting votes. 10 weeks from right now, they will be counting votes, except the polls will not be closed yet on the Pacific Coast. I'm not even going to worry about California's 132 electoral votes. I think those are hopelessly in Kamala's court. Ditto for Washington and ditto for Oregon. Hawaii's like, dude, we'll vote, leave us alone. Alaska, hey, we could get lucky on that. I think the one thing that we're really big on is polling here, because pollsters, of which Scott Miller and Greg Fink are, there's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics, which proves the case. The statistics are very, very simple. It's a very tight race. And now we come out with Kamala Harris's TV ad talking about how tough she is on the border. Roll it.
Kamala Harris has spent decades fighting violent crime. As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border. As vice president, she backed the toughest border control bill in decades. And as president, she will hire thousands more border agents and crack down on fentanyl and human trafficking. Fixing the border is tough. So is Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Wow, Kamala Harris with what's in the background, Scott, that you noticed on most of those pictures?
There was one overriding element that was in almost every frame of that thing, and it was that damn racist border wall.
Shock. Yeah. Notice anything else?
She's been tough. I think for her, if she prosecutes a drug dealer, then she's tough on drug dealers. If she prosecutes a gang member, she's been tough on gang members, because that's about what her record is. And most of the police in California will, have gone on record saying just how much she's trying to co-opt pictures that they happen to be in to suggest that they're supporting her, and they've come out to say with no uncertain terms that are they behind her. Because all she ever did was show up for the photo op and leave. She never did anything, according to the people who actually had to enforce the law.
Right. And the picture of the border agents taken in El Paso just a very few months ago happened, let me think. Scott, you have a brief on that. That was her, as far as we know, her one and only trip to the border in El Paso. And how did all that work out?
So our border agents, these guys are supposed to be there. Their job is to enforce the law, to make sure that people aren't crossing the border, and make sure that everything's safe. And what they were doing that day instead was picking up garbage, so that there weren't accidentally some camera angle that would have Kamala in the foreground and trash in the background. Because that's their only important thing, is to make sure, oh my God, we can't let the vice president look bad. So we got to put these guys to work doing something other than their job.
Yeah.
And it's the thing we had to do in the Air Force quite a bit. Whenever people would come visit the military base, they always take the lower enlisted guys out there to clean the base up and everything. So all the camera angles and everything looked good before Bill Clinton showed up. And so I mean, they didn't use actual people that was their job to do that. They they take people off the line, off the front line, or off the flight line, and do it that way in the Air Force. And so I mean, it's probably very similar in Border Patrol. Just take people off their regular day job and tell them to go clean details, because the camera is going to show something that it might not look too pretty for the next funding session of Congress.
Yeah, they kept you from repairing broken planes. They kept them from keeping people out of this country.
My planes are important.
Your planes are important, but keeping people
I agree.
But diverting border agents from that. It's one thing. I'd have been even okay if the border agents would have been around her and stuff like that, and they just were background elements. But putting these guys out there to pick up the trash, well, there wouldn't be any trash there if they were able to actually enforce the border like they want to.
Could they hire prisoners to do this?
Whatever. I don't care.
Hire?
I don't care. As long as they're not taking law enforcement people and making that their job.
Exactly. That's my
Their
point.
job is their job. Law enforcement officers, sworn officers, job is not making the president look good. They're there to enforce the law.
Exactly. Now, and don't forget, Kamala did refer to the wall as Trump's vanity project. Vanity project. Yes. I've got a question here. In her speech, in her acceptance speech just the other day, which seems like weeks ago because it's really dragging here, she claims to have negotiated with foreign leaders. Now, I may have missed something. She also mentioned that she had never been to Europe. So what foreign leaders do you think she might be talking about?
Well,
notice she didn't say she successfully negotiated with them.
Exactly.
Just she pitched out some ideas.
I mean, and it goes back to
never happened.
It goes back to our argument. Maybe she has been running things without anybody knowing.
No.
Maybe. Okay. I keep going back to giving her a little bit of credit for running this country, but okay.
Let me tell you what, if she was actually running things, she would be the first to take credit for it.
I don't know. I don't think there's too much to take credit for right now.
Well, no. Look, they'd find something. She'd find something to take credit
That's
for.
Very true.
But so far, she hasn't been able to take credit for anything other than being on the team.
That's very true.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely true. I just find that fascinating. And then in the speech she gave earlier this week, and I'm going to guess it was Monday the 26th, the amount of information coming from the campaign is amazing because it's so much easier to file a story now than it was when I was a reporter starting in the 70s. You'd have to wait for the speech to be over, go back, rewind the audio, get to a phone, send it back to the radio station. Now, click, 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 it's on your laptop. You edit that part out, hit send, boink, it's in the studio in 25 seconds or less. The information gets out a lot quicker. The fact that everybody's got websites where the reporters can file directly to the website or to their editor, and then they flip that story around and it goes right in the hopper on the top. So the information's coming like at a fire hose level, and we're trying to take it in with maybe a tablespoon at a time, because that's about all you can handle when you're eating a shit sandwich. There's a talk about, she gave an answer today in the last 24 about a statement about Israel and Palestine. Now, obviously, the Palestinians were pretty much totally rejected at the convention in Chicago. Scott's laughing. And
I love it.
You know the quote I'm talking about. She's like, well, it's horrible what's happening to the people of Palestine, but Israel sure has the right to self-defense, and I know they've tried what's the word, to avoid civilian casualties. Well, wait a minute. What did you, What? Didn't go on to say, oh, by the way, hello, Palestinians, hello, Hamas, stop hiding ammo in people's houses. Stop having your bunkers under the hospital.
Exactly.
Right. Stop in Iraq.
Stop putting people in, yeah.
All right.
I'm going to tell you, they keep trying to make a distinction between Palestinians and Hamas. You go to Palestine and talk to those people about Hamas. They're not there. They won't even pull you aside and say, "Oh no, I'm terrified for my safety." But I'll tell you, we wish they would go away. They don't wish they would go away. They're happy that they're there because they're their heroes.
Yeah, but a lot of them might be Stockholm syndrome as well, though. I mean, a lot of them.
Whatever. Stop apologizing for these people. If they wanted to get rid of those people, if they wanted to get rid of Hamas, there would be an organized sect in there trying to get rid of Hamas. There isn't.
Well, that's true.
Yep. And by the way, the last free elections in Palestine, in Gaza, were 16 years ago? I mean, it's an insane number. And Hamas won like a commie election. I mean, hey, here's 93% of the vote, and the other 7% didn't. And
exactly.
Just you
vote this way, you keep your life.
I will
vote that way, you lose your hand.
You never know. Yeah. Precisely. Or how about say Iraq '03? Where did we find a lot of Iraqi supplies, gear, and ammo? Literally stacked to the ceiling. I walked
Yeah.
in, and in his classroom, in a school house in a small town, it was stacked to the ceiling. And
Mm-hmm.
then the EOD guys walk in and say, "Hey guys, you got to get out of here. We haven't searched this yet. The whole thing could blow up." I'm like, oh
Right.
crap. But it was because I've got buddies who have AK-47s here in the U.S., semi-automatic, perfectly legal, and I was like, well, I could have grabbed 8 or 10 cases and just shipped them home, and I'd be a big hero. They'd still be shooting to this day. But that's where they hide stuff, under hospitals, below on the ground floor
Right.
of hospitals. Hey, you want to find a
tunnels.
tank? You want to find a tank? Go to the ambulance bay at the hospital. It's under the awning, and you can't see that from a
Right.
satellite. And that's where they found tanks. Oops. So,
Oops.
I mean, the reality here is Hamas and Hezbollah are killing more Palestinians than the Israelis are. I mean, by
Yeah.
them putting them where they are putting them, and them putting the weapons where they're putting the weapons, and they're literally using the human shield aspect here. And they're murdering these children and murdering these families. And for some reason, somebody has got to get that through to everybody up here in D.C. And we have just got to go ahead and finish these guys off. Period.
Yeah. And I was going to mention the Ukraine, that it's a very fluid situation. The last 10 days, Ukrainians have launched a counterattack into Russia. What?
They got a ballistic
Into
missile now.
Russia.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
They
God
got their own
bless.
ballistic missile. They got tired of us not giving them one.
Yeah.
So they made one themselves.
Yeah. So the Russians have taken a week to strike back, and they didn't even get close to the force that has gone into Russia. They're at the other end of the country, going into Ukraine, to territory they had previously captured and then let loose when the Ukrainians fought back.
According to a lot of intel, Russia is running out of bombs.
On top of that, they've destroyed bridges across a river that now I think they're like one or two little objectives away from completely cutting off a huge section of Russia.
I mean, and also Russia does not have the armament that they used to have. I mean, between selling a lot of their weapons off, just and through the Russian mob, and through other means and everything else, as through all the oligarchs, they do not have the weaponry that they used to have, and they're running out of bombs. I think if Ukraine starts building them the way they're building them, I think they're going to be able to outlast them. I mean, I think this is a whole. I mean, basically, I think the best thing Zelensky could do, is find somebody from Afghanistan to help destroy the Soviet Union 10 years ago, and ask them, how did you guys destroy them 10 years ago? And basically, I think it's hand-to-hand combat and going door to door and everything.
No, they don't have to do anything like that. The fact of the matter is they're doing an excellent job right now.
They're doing an excellent job, but they're out of people.
But well, yeah.
Need more people. Need more help.
Look, this is how desperate the Russians are. They're buying ammo from people that the U.S. government forbids people who are acting on behalf of the Americans. And I don't mean we can't buy it from North Korea. What I'm saying is, if North Korea manufactured it and it's changed hands 10 times, it doesn't matter. The ammunition is unreliable, which is the reason that it was banned from U.S. government sales, and on top of that, they're sending out drones to attack Moscow. So the war isn't something that Moscow can kind of pencil whip away and say, oh, it's not really happening. Between the people that are dying out there and leaving families at home alone, and the fact that bombs are actually dropping in Moscow, it's going to be hard for Putin to really explain away.
Right.
Well, it's one of those you scratch your head. I forget what the deal was. Putin went to North Korea, made a deal. They are shipping ammunition, mostly artillery shells, because North Korea has, on the top of my head, more than 5,000 artillery tubes, and they are shipping tens of thousands of rounds of big artillery ammo to Russia, to go directly to the Ukraine, because Russia is concerned.
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, Trump is Trump. Putin is concerned about China. They are sending what they can. They've still got to hold the line with China. They've got to hold the line with NATO. They have not stripped out as many troops as you would have thought from both their Western Front and their Southern Front, to put it mildly. And there are probably a lot of Soviet troops that are feeling really good. Wow, here I am bored on the Chinese border. And hey, look, a yak. I think I'll shoot that. It's a Chinese yak. And they, instead of being slaughtered as they are being slaughtered in the Ukraine. And there's something to take note. By the way, this war has changed. This particular war, in a little more than 2 years, has changed modern warfare as we know it. I don't think anybody realized that drones were so important to the offense in this war and in the defense going against the offense. It's really something, and it's shaking up a lot of people in the U.S. Army and the U.S. Marine Corps, and they're going, oh, shit, we are behind the curve. We are behind the curve. You're going to start seeing a lot of drone platoons and even drone battalions, and I'm not sure what they're going to call them. It won't be the drone platoon, but there'll be something to that. But you got to have it. And these are expendable. These are expendable products. Okay, use once, throw away. Use once, and it blows up. And if you can trade a drone for a tank or an armored personnel carrier, you freaking win. When you have, they have what they call firefinder radar. Radar, we're used to this slow sweep on the green screen, right? Firefinder radar uses a smaller radar dish, and it spins like a fidget spinner. You got a fidget spinner, Scott? You know what I mean?
No, I got it.
Right, there you go.
I got a laser.
Okay. The fidget spinner goes zoom, zoom, zoom like this. And when you have two of them working in sync, which they do, and they're a mile or two apart, they can find where that mortar round or that artillery round is coming from and give you plus or minus 5 meters, 3 meters, 10 feet, right? They can tell you where that's coming from, where the mortar is. Let's say you've got your drones up, got some altitude on them, and they're a couple miles behind the enemy. Zoom! They're dropping the third round in the mortar tube, and the drone drops on them. Kaboomy! It's ruined their entire day. Ditto, same for artillery, because artillery always keeps all their ammo just a little bit over there. Got two guys to haul these big ass shells. Yeah, it's right over there. And it's not pack a lunch. I mean, we're talking 10 yards maybe. And artillery knows they can
safe distance.
Artillery can shoot 5 rounds before the counter battery fire comes in. But when the firefinder radar finds the first round, then the drones are going to be there by the third round. Oops. Again, bad day. One more thing. Speaking of bad days, can we just show the story from OK Magazine? Yes. Unless we're running too long. OK Magazine is like pretty much the National Enquirer of England. Maybe a little more stand up like People Magazine. But when I lived in LA, the one thing I found out was that People Magazine basically is the National Enquirer with slick paper and respectable ads, because it was a spinoff from Time Magazine. Okay, so that's been a pretty good 40, almost 50 years now for People Magazine. But it's an extended story. Greg will put the link up, and it shows Matt Gaetz going back to 2019, I guess, every 6 months. And this is what they started with, say, in 2019, 5 years ago, in his second term, and it brings us all the way up to the current. There's some interesting pictures of really tall hair. I mean, it's really up there. And the comparisons have been made. Jimmy Kimmel will throw the video in, I don't know, like right here. Jimmy Kimmel talks about what the hell has Matt Gaetz done to himself, the man with no friends in Congress.
Now, that man redefines vanity, and I'll tell you what: if you really want to shock him off his game, just go walk up to him and tell him, "Man, I'm glad to see you've put on a couple. I was worried about your health."
Yeah, somebody did that yesterday.
Scott and
A friend of ours did that yesterday.
I think Scott, we were around when he was running for re-election, and we walked down, we walked down Palafox Street, and he's sitting right there at a pizza place. And hey, man, hey guys, how you doing? Good to see you. I forget
I was
who.
trying to extend an olive branch, and he's just a douche.
They did a graffiti pizza.
That's
graffiti
okay.
Pizza in downtown Pensacola.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I still went. I didn't hold him against it that they feed him when he shows up.
Great pizza place. If you're in Pensacola, go to Graffiti Pizza. Graffiti's very good, and Sky Pizza the two best pizza places in Pensacola.
I see that Sky Pizza is moving to they're building another one in Pace or Milton. Pace.
They have a second location in Pace.
There you go. Excellent. So that will cover it for this week. We do appreciate the likes. We definitely want the shares. And most importantly, we'd like you to subscribe. It's free. It will always be free until we get really, really broke. But hey, we always got politics to talk about. So we will do our best to stir up shit and give you the inside. And certainly we also appreciate any feedback or input that you have for stories that we may not be covering. Oh, one quick victory. Apparently, the Department of Environmental Protection for the state of Florida, I did not realize they owned the park system. They have now given up all these expansion plans. We heard about golf courses and resort hotels. Yeah, we talked about it last week, but now, as of now, they're toast. And there was a big protest at all of the parks involved today. The DEP put off their meeting. The board was supposed to meet in Tallahassee. They put it off. But they've already put the word out. Okay, sorry, we tried for a little too much there. So
just kidding.
Listen, if you guys want to go buy some more freaking farmland, go right ahead. You want to make it a state park? Go right ahead. Put your damn resort hotel there. Don't mess with the stuff we got now. Oh, and the other thing, this is huge news. I don't even think Orlando gets this. To the east side of the Orlando airport, if you're ever flying into Orlando and you look east towards the coast, there's a lot of nothing. I mean, there's a lot of nothing. And the reason is it's owned by the Mormon Church. It's known as the Deseret Ranch. It is the biggest ranch east of the Mississippi, bar none. It goes from basically the Beachline Freeway, or just off the Beachline when you're driving over to the coast. They had to give up 30 or 40 acres to run the new high-speed train from the airport in Orlando over to the coast. And they decided that, you know what, we're tired of fighting. They are offering the city of Orlando an ungodly amount of acreage. It comes to more than 80 square miles.
Wow.
Now, let me tell you, sports fans, 80 square miles is huge. And that's not Donald Trump huge. That's big freaking huge. That's 1 million, 2 million more people. That's another mall or two. That's probably 30 public stores, 20 public stores, more Publix, okay? We're talking about growth that will be building out for the remainder of this century. That's how much space we're talking about. The ranch will still run from basically highway, all of that land in Orange County. So it'll go from the Osceola County line south all the way to Yeehaw by God Junction on both sides of the turnpike. And you're driving along and go, there's nothing out here. Right. That's the Deseret Ranch. They've got 2 or 3 tunnels under the turnpike for the cattle to move through. That's how enormous this place is. I mean, it's bigger than several other counties individually. So that is huge news. It was announced yesterday. I think they're waiting for the Orlando City Council to do City Commission. I'm not sure the difference. They're waiting for the folks at City Hall to do something, mostly to get off their ass. If I was the mayor of Buddy Dyer, who's been almost the mayor for life, if I was Buddy Dyer, I would call a news conference. I would find any Mormon I could. I would get on my knees and kiss their ass. Thank you for giving us literally the future of Orlando. That's big time stuff.
It's going to be the biggest city in Florida.
Yeah, it really will be. 80 square miles more. Ay.
That's bigger than Jacksonville.
Yeah. Well, but they had the whole county. You know, that's when they did the merge thing years and years ago. On behalf of Scott Miller in Pensacola, you can wave at everybody now, Scott. or tug your ear the way that Carol Burnett used to. Greg Fink, he and I did not coordinate our orange shirts today. I don't know how that happened. But next time we'll try to coordinate T-shirts with Scott. All right. I'm Rob Milford in Orlando. Thank you for joining us here at the Political Matrix News.